Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Lacey, the Cheeky Bum, and I am going to share a tutorial with you for the 3D coffin embellishment box. And I know this is a long time coming. This is actually for my Halloween swap, for the trick-or-treat swap of 2023. And you still have a couple weeks if you want to join in. All you have to do is make it, ask me for my address, and you can send it to me. I'm not really doing a whole sign-in type of thing. I mean, I do have a list, but honestly, if you can get it to me on time, then you can make one. So I know that there's only a few more weeks before the deadline, and I've tried filming this for quite a while. I actually did the original tutorial like a month ago, and August kind of was a little rough for me. I had a lot of stuff going on, and then I went to go work on it and edit it, and I lost all the video for it. I had to recover it, and that took a while. There's only a few things that I didn't get, like I wasn't able to recover, like the intro and the outro and a couple other little pieces, but not enough. Like as I'm editing, there's not much missing. Everything is pretty much there. So anyway, so this is the 3D coffin box. This is it all decorated. I'll also show you at the end. But yeah, it's a fun little box. It opens up like this, and you fill it full of your embellishments. So let's get into the tutorial, and I'll explain what I did at the end. To start, we're gonna need 2 pieces that are 9 inches by 5.5 inches, and 2 pieces that are 11 inches by 3 inches. All right, you're gonna take your base piece, and on the short side, you're gonna score it at 1.5 inches, and then at 4 inches. And you're gonna flip it to the long side and score it at 3.5 inches. This is what it should look like. For this next part, you can use scissors, but I'm gonna use my cutter. You're gonna want to cut your piece from the end of one score to the other score. It's hard to explain, but you're gonna have this. It's gonna make a coffin shape. So from, one score line to the other score line, you're gonna line it up and cut it. See, you can see it taking shape. I don't know how to explain this part. This is where it can kind of be confusing, but anyway, you're just kind of cutting off that negative space on the outsides. This is what your piece is going to look like, a nice coffin piece, and you're going to do the same thing to the other one. Now, if you didn't want creasing in your paper from scoring, you could just do one and just trace it onto your blank pieces of paper and just cut it out, so that way you wouldn't have any scoring. But I plan on covering mine with paper. This is just kind of the core of it, so it doesn't matter to me that there are score lines, but if you don't want them, you can do it this way. Now we're going to work on our side pieces. So you need 2 pieces that are 11 inches by 3 inches, and we're going to start on the short side. So we're going to take the short side and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and then at 2.5 inches. All right, flip it over to the long side and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, at 6 inches, and then at 9.5 inches. This is what it should look like. Now you're gonna do it to the other piece. Now we're gonna take our side pieces and we're gonna cut out that negative space for folding, that bulk space that you get in the corners. So we're just gonna kind of notch out the corners like so. The center crease, we're just gonna kind of cut a triangle. So again, we're just kind of cutting out that bulk space that you don't need when you're folding. Again, you're going to do it to both pieces, so whatever you do to the first piece, you're going to do to the second piece. This next step is personal preference, but I wanted the inside of my coffin to have a pattern as well as the outside. So I'm just going to take my piece and put glue all over it and slap it down on my pattern paper and just cut around it so I don't have any creasing. I found that this is the easiest way for me, so that's what I'm doing. So next we're going to take our side pieces, and you're going to take one of these pieces and you're going to cut it in the middle so that you'll have one large section and then one section that has the two smaller sections on it. We're going to create the bottom, which is 3 inches by 2 inches, and on the 3-inch side we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 2.5 inches. Now we're going to take all of our side pieces and assemble the whole side. So you're going to take your little bottom piece and your long side piece, the one that hasn't been cut, and you're going to take that 1/2 inch little flap and you're going to glue it to the long side of the bottom piece that you just cut. I kind of like to fold mine up so I can line it up correctly, and I just really press in that glue as it's folded so that I know that it'll fold correctly. So still working off of that bottom piece, you're going to take that long section of the one that you cut in half, and on that 1/2 inch little tab, you're going to put glue on it and you're going to attach it to the bottom piece as well. We're also going to cut that new bottom piece, and we're going to cut out the little folding hinges, folding areas, whatever you want to call them, as well as, you know, just like so it matches the other pieces. Next, that long piece that we just assembled, we're going to cut off that small last little section because we're going to be adding to this. Now we're going to make a top piece, so you need a 3 by 3 square, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Now you're going to take that top piece and you're going to notch out each corner like we've done all the other pieces. So every single corner, cut it out. Now take your long piece out and kind of lay it out. You can see that it's starting to take shape. So you're going to attach that top piece to, I think, the shorter piece of the long piece, if that makes sense. One end is got a longer section than the other end. So to that shorter slight section, you're going to add that piece. If you can tell, I need a glue holder, but anything with a circle kind of works. I use ribbon or tape, whatever holds my glue works great for me. Now you're going to take that last section and the longer piece, or the longer section of this piece is what's going to attach to the top. As you can see, if you lay it out, it's starting to come together. It looks like a coffin now. So we're gonna, that last little bit that we added, that one piece that had 2 sections, we're gonna cut off the tabs, like the glue tabs on that, because it's not gonna be glued down to the coffin itself. That's where your opening's gonna be, so we're gonna cut those off. Okay, now covering the sides. So I measured each one of my little sections, and you can see them on the screen of how many you need. So you need one that's 1.5 inches by 2 inches, 2 pieces that are 3.5 inches by 2 inches, 1 piece that's 2 inches by 2 inches, 2 sections that are 2.5 inches by 2 inches, and 1 section that is 1 1/8 by 2 inches. Now the measurements I gave will give just a little bit of a black edge, not much, but a little bit. So I'm just kind of laying them out. I'm gonna darken my edges so that it will kind of blend in with the black edging just a little bit. It just gives me a little bit more of a finished look, but that's my preference. You can skip this step if you want. You can measure exactly. I'm gonna do the inside a different way, so you'll get to see both ways, and you can do whatever's easiest for you. Now I'm just going to glue each section down. I lined them all out so I know where each section goes, and I'm just gluing them down. Here are all the pieces glued down. You can see what the outside is going to look like. And now I'm going to do the inside. And what I'm going to do with the inside is I just cut 2-inch strips, and I'm just going to glue it. I'm not going to do each section. I'm just going to do 1 long strip. Actually, I think it's 2 long strips. 1 long strip didn't quite fit, so that's what I'm doing. This is what the inside looks like, and I'm just gonna kind of fold those creasings. It's a little stiff from that 1 long piece that I glued down, so I'm just gonna, just give it a good little crease, fold down my tabs really nice, and we're gonna line it up on the base piece of the coffin. This next part is personal preference, but I thought it made it slightly easier lining things up nicely. So I took pencil and made some marks of where I need to glue. My first one turned out just slightly off, just a little bit, and I thought that this might make it easier when gluing it onto the base. So that's what I'm doing here. Honestly, I find this the most trickiest part of making this whole coffin. So I start at the bottom first. Again, personal preference. I glue the bottom piece down and then go along the sides. I think it makes it easier, but again, lining things up is the hardest part of the whole coffin box. Now you could use double-sided tape if you wanted to. I just like the glue because it gives me a little bit more wiggle room when lining things up. It's just easier for me. You're definitely gonna have to like maneuver the box around, flipping it upside down and stuff to get the right angles for the glue and lining things up. As you can see, I'm flipping mine all around. This is where I differ from the original tutorial. I decided to do a Velcro dot, and I wanted to hold up really well, so I did add glue as well. And I'll link the original tutorial down in the bottom, but I thought that a Velcro enclosure more than a ribbon enclosure would just be easier. Okay, so now I'm going to start decorating the outside of my coffin. So I select my paper, and what I'm going to do, and I'll show you why in just a second, I'm going to lay down double-sided tape, and then I'm going to add glue as well. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I glue it all up and I just slap it onto the paper, and I'm going to cut around it. This is why I decided to do the tape and glue method, I guess. So you can see on my original box, the edges got really wavy when I just used glue, but I did use a thinner paper, and the paper I'm using this time is slightly thicker, but I still didn't want that, so that's why I did that method. This is where my OCD kind of took a little turn. I decided that I wanted the inside of the coffin to be decorated too, and I should have done this first. So instead of putting the sides on, I should have decorated both sides of the coffin base, but I didn't. So what I did is I took the coffin and I basically made a ½ inch on each side, like all sides smaller, so that I could make an insert. Again, you don't have to do this, you can leave the inside plain, but I decided that I needed to do this for whatever reason. So here's my insert. It just slid right in. I taped it down, pressed it down, and now I feel better. Why? I don't know, but I do. So moving on to the cover, I definitely learned from my mistake. So one side of it has the ghosties that match the inside, and on the outside I wanted it to look more like a realistic coffin, so I made these little like wood planks or wood boards out of this embossing folder that I have. So I'm just kind of distressing my paper a little bit more, adding some shadows in with a marker so that you can see the knots in the embossing just a little bit more. I did also take an X-Acto knife and rough up each edge of the boards so they look a little bit more realistic and there's more depth in them. I'm just going to glue down each one of these boards, but I think I'm going to stagger them to give it more of a realistic effect, if that makes sense. I don't want them all lined up in a grid. I want to more like brick lay them, I guess. Here's all the pieces all glued on, and I'm just going to cut all the extra off around it. Now I'm going to glue up all my edges, and I'm just going to kind of slap the top piece on. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here to make sure that it looks somewhat straight. You know, it is what it is. I should have done the guidelines like I did on the bottom piece, and I didn't, but you know, it turns out fine. Here's what it's like all together. If you wanted a bigger opening, you could like not glue that top piece on as well, so you'd have a bigger opening. I don't know if it'll distort the shape of the box, but you could. The box itself really isn't that hard to make. I made it relatively quick. I think it might have taken me an hour, hour and a half, and that's, you know, I can be kind of a slow crafter at times, but the base elements of it really don't take very long. It's more of the decorating with anything that takes a while. So like the boards took me a while. As you can see, they're quite detailed. You've seen some of the video, but this is just an embossing folder. It's just this little Tim Holtz 6 like embossing folder, and I just did strips of it. I took some chalk and kind of distressed it a little bit, or pastel. I wouldn't say chalk. I'd use pastel, soft pastel, and distressed it a little bit. And then I went through with a marker and kind of highlighted the knots in the wood grain. And then I cut out each individual piece. I took just a razor blade or an X-Acto knife and kind of roughed up the edges. And I glued them on in different staggering patterns so they're not like all lined up. And then I just took a little glitter pen and made kind of like little nail marks. I did end up putting a pocket on here, and this was after the fact because the opening is not huge. If you wanted to, you didn't have to glue down this top portion and it would open up even wider to add stuff. But I added the pocket so that I could add a memory dex card on here if I wanted to. You could also put a pocket on the outside. That footage was lost of me distressing all of the little pieces and adding elements and the pocket. But I basically just laid down the coffin and kind of traced it and added a 1/2 inch to the side and to the bottom so that I could fold it in and make a pocket. So you're not gonna be able to tell much, but you can kind of see the little gusset right there. So that way, yes, I could add a little Memdex in here if I wanted, or I could add extra goodies. It's just kind of versatile. And I also added some flowers and some moss. I'll probably add maybe like a little tombstone saying or epitaph, is it? Maybe. I'm not quite sure. But then I also thought that I could make my Memdex into a tombstone. I don't know yet. I haven't done all my goodies to put inside the box yet. I've only done a few, so I'm still working on my embellishments and other elements that go in this. But I wanted you to, I wanted to share the tutorial. Again, the original tutorial will be in the description box. Nothing against her tutorials. I followed quite a few of them. She just doesn't talk you through it as much as I would like. I'm a hands-on learner. And if I can't physically touch things, then I want to see good pictures and I want it explained really well to me. That's just how I learn. So that's why I added this tutorial. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Anything I can link, I'll link below. I don't know if I really have much to link, but yeah, this is my embellishment box. As you can see, it's all decorated. I have cats, and this is, I'll show the original one I've made too. And then I have this one that still needs to be decorated. I haven't decided what kind of theme. Oh, so I didn't glue the top on this one. So I think that this was just my mistake. I probably should have referred back to this one a little bit more. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. I think if you follow her tutorial, she only has this part that is not connected. And this is what it looks like if you don't connect the top. So I guess I have both versions and I didn't even realize it until right now because I literally made this one almost 2 months ago. Like it was back when I decided I wanted to add this into like to do a swap with this. So I wanted to see what it was like to make it, how easy it was, and stuff like that before I decided that this is the project I wanted to do, or I wanted everybody else to do. So, and I found it very easy, so that's why I decided to do it, but I didn't even realize it. So yeah, if you don't do the top, it's much bigger. You can put a lot more stuff in there. That's my bad. But you can see the original one, I used glue and I used a thinner paper, so I have a lot of warping that I didn't like. And in this tutorial for this one, I used double-sided tape and glue so I wouldn't get that wobble, and I also used thicker paper. So yeah, see, you have some distorting on the side. I'll probably just keep this one. I'm not gonna share this one because I'm a perfectionist and I don't like exactly how this turned out. And I don't know how many I'm gonna add into the swap, like I'm gonna use for the swap or not. So I don't know if I'll make another one or not. If I do, I'll make this one. This one again was a little bit more time consuming because it was more details, and this one is pretty just basic so far. So this is the tutorial for the 3D coffin box. If you have any questions, let me know. If you still want to enter, I'll link the other video below. It does say closed, but if you can get it to me by the deadline, which I think it needs to be postmarked by October 1st, then you're more than welcome to send me something. Just let me know if you need the address, and you can sorry, you can message me on IG. I'm the Cheeky Bum on Instagram, or you can email me. I have the email linked in the original video as well. And yeah, if you still want to join, let me know. Get my address. You can PayPal me or Venmo me for the return shipping, and there you go. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you like this video, let me know. Tutorials are not my thing. It's a lot of editing, and I like to do like one-shot videos. So I love like project shares and hauls because that's just one take, and I might have to add a picture or two, maybe cut off a little bit at the beginning or the end, and that's about it. That's what I like. But I'm trying to get better with tutorials because I like to follow tutorials. So I just want to share that with everybody. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I will see you in the next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get more like this. Bye.